Hello and welcome to Beautiful Gold TV. The UEFA Champions League returns this week, and I'm going to be running you through my predictions for the fixtures and who I think is going to be progressing through to the quarterfinals in what is a very exciting round of 16 lineup. I'm proper buzzing, just as I'm sure you are. All football fans around the world can't wait for the Champions League to get back underway. So let's see who's going to come up trumps. Firstly, let's start with Juve versus Spurs. I think that Juve going to this game definite favourites, despite the fact that Spurs have taken some major scalps in Europe this season, beating Real Madrid 3-0, and of course knocking Dortmund out in the group stage and progressing ahead of Dortmund. And you know, they've got some major recent results at home at Wembley. I think the Wembley tie will be very difficult for Juventus. But you know, Spurs were up against a very average Arsenal side. I know Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan aside, but they weren't all that convincing against Arsenal. And against United, I know they beat Manchester United 2-0, but they did get the early goal, which made that game very difficult for United to execute their game plan. So I think Juventus, you know, are playing really well just now. They've turned the corner after starting the season in different form. Diabala's come back from injury. Higuain's hit his form. This one may end up being a shootout between Harry Kane and Gonzalo Higuain. I guess whichever team can get their top striker the best chances might just win this game. But I'm going for Juve to edge this 2-1 on aggregate. Man City Basel. You'd expect Man City to go through pretty comfortably. Basel can probably make it difficult for them in the second leg. And Guardiola doesn't actually have the greatest away record in Europe. If you look back, he hasn't won too many away from home, even in the knockout phase, especially in the knockout rounds actually. So this is probably going to be more difficult than people think, but I think in that first leg City will take care of business and they'll head to Basel with a comfortable lead. I'm going for City to progress at least 4-1 on aggregate. Porto Liverpool. This is one where I think there could be a little bit of a surprise. Initially when I was looking at the fixtures, I thought, well, of course Liverpool are going to win this. But looking at things a bit more carefully, if you realise that Porto are unbeaten this season in the Portuguese league, they've only conceded 10 goals and they have a mean strike force. Abubakar and Marega look really, really good going forward. And with Liverpool's defensive frailties and their inability to keep clean sheets, I'm actually going for a bit of an upset in this one, and I'm saying Porto are going to progress 3-2 on aggregate. Liverpool going forward, of course, are fantastic with Mane, Salah, Firmino. They've got so many options, and they really look good under Jurgen Klopp's counter-pressing and the way he's got them moving the ball forward really quickly. Let's not forget how they dismantled Liverpool. How Liverpool dismantled Man City not too long ago. Unfortunately, as we saw in that game, defensive frailties, even with the signing of Van Dijk. Dejan Lovren is an absolute disaster to be complimentary for Liverpool right now. And of course with Mignolet and Karius, it seems to be an empty net virtually for Liverpool with either of those two in goal. So I think that Porto have enough at the back to maybe deal with Liverpool's attacking threats. And I think at the back, Liverpool might be a little bit too soft for what is a very strong attacking partnership in Porto. And I think there could be a bit of complacency, maybe Liverpool slightly underestimating their opponents in this one. I'm going for Porto to progress. Chelsea versus Barca. Again, a lot of people writing Chelsea off. When the draw was made, people said, okay, yeah, this is going to be a very tough game for Barca. But of course, Chelsea have been slipping up just now in the Premier League and the Cup. They've had some bad results. You know, 4-1 defeat the other day. So I think that Barca obviously head into this game as favourites. You know, they're playing really well just now. Messi's in fantastic form. Suarez looking very good. But again, I think Barca do have some vulnerabilities at the back. And I think Chelsea have the players going forward to expose some of those frailties. I think Willian, Hazard, Pedro, even Morata, they could get themselves a couple goals in this one. But I just think Barca will have too much class for them, and when it comes down to it, the little man Messi will make all the difference in the end. And I see Barca going through in this one, perhaps 4-1 on aggregate, maybe 4-2. You know, they've never had it easy at the bridge. Let's go with 4-2. Real Madrid PSG. Well, I said earlier that I thought Barca and Man City are probably favourites to go through and win the competition. I actually think that, I've got a sneaky gut feeling about this game, and I just think that the winner of the Champions League might just come from this Real Madrid PSG tie. I think if Real Madrid knock PSG out, it could be that major result that could reinvigorate their season and could see them going on and lifting the trophy for a third time in a row. If PSG knock out the holders, Real Madrid, the holders, the two-time champions, 2 years in a row, I think it could give them the confidence to say, hang on, doesn't matter who we face, we can beat them. And Unai Emery, I know he's never won the Champions League, he's never, he doesn't have that major feather in his cap, but he's a serial winner at Europa League, UEFA Cup level. He's won a lot over there, and he's never had a squad like PSG at his disposal. And with the players that he has in that PSG team, he could very well do it. However, my prediction for this game, I think Ronaldo has hit his form just at the right time. He scored 8 goals in La Liga since the turn of the year, more than any other player. And he always seems to save it for the big games. Remember last season, he didn't start the season very well. And knockout phase of the Champions League came around, and all of a sudden, Mr. Mercurial pops up when it matters most. He's done that throughout his career, and it's the one feature, as he supposedly is in decline now and his peak coming to an end. That is the one feature of his career that's always been there, is that he seems to step up when it matters for his teams most. And I also think that, people need to take into consideration, before just writing Real Madrid off, that Zinedine Zidane has done something incredible in winning back-to-back European Cups. I think a lot of people seem to be taking that lightly, the fact that he did something that many great managers, people seem to be forgetting that in the last 20 odd years since Arrigo Sacchi won back-to-back European Cups with his fantastic AC Milan side, we've seen a plethora of fantastic managers, world-class managers, legendary managers, been unable to emulate that feat of successfully defending the European Cup. I'm talking about guys like Johan Cruyff, Fabio Capello, Carlo Ancelotti, Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola, Sir Alex Ferguson. All these managers won the European Cup several times, once in the case of Cruyff, but won the European Cup and weren't able to successfully defend it. Zidane did that in his first 2 seasons as a rookie manager. You can tell me, he had good players. Ferguson, Ancelotti, Mourinho, Guardiola, they all had good players. That's something that's very difficult to do. You don't win 2 Champions Leagues in a row by accident, by mistake, by fluke. And I think Zinedine Zidane deserves a little bit more credit for what he's achieved at Real Madrid, winning the league title last season as well. And so, given the fact that Real Madrid are so far behind Barcelona, they're not going to win La Liga. They've got all their eggs in this basket. Their season depends on this game. And for that dressing room, they know Zidane's come out publicly and said it. My fate rests on the result of the PSG game. And those players know that. Their manager, who they've certainly, I think, got some sort of emotional connection to and got a lot of respect for, having won 2 European Cups under him. If they lose this PSG tie, that's Zidane gone. And I think that could be enough motivation for them to just see PSG off. I think PSG will just have to wait maybe 1 more year for that major run in Europe. I think they've been a bit unlucky with the draw this year. And as bad as Real Madrid have been, I just think that man Ronaldo will make all the difference again. And who knows, maybe Real Madrid go on and lift the European Cup for 3rd year in a row off the back of such a major victory, if the draws count them in the next 2 rounds. Then we got Shakhtar versus Roma. I'm going to go for a slight upset in this one as well. Shakhtar absolutely flying in the Ukrainian league, and they too have some very impressive attacking options going forward. And I just don't think that Roma have shown the consistency in Serie A, and they have some injury concerns as well. On paper, Roma probably would be the favourites heading into this tie, but I think that Shakhtar can just upset the apple cart slightly, and I can see them booking themselves a place in the quarterfinals. Sevilla versus Man United will be a little bit more difficult than people think. Of course, United lost this weekend to Newcastle, a very woeful offensive display, not to mention the very soft in the middle performance at the back given by Chris Smalling and Phil Jones, very weak for Manchester United. But Sevilla are not too great defensively themselves. They're only 7th in La Liga, having conceded more goals than they've scored, whereas United have the best defense in the Premier League, even after the defeat to Newcastle. And the way Jose sets his team up, the fact that the second leg is at Old Trafford, I can see United going away, keeping it tight, maybe nicking a goal, coming back and taking care of business and making sure that they at least progress to the quarterfinals. From that point on, for this Manchester United team, could get a little bit more complicated, but I see them at least going through to the quarterfinals. 3-1 on aggregate. Then Bayern versus Besiktas. This one will be comfortable for the Bavarians, no question about it. They're absolutely flying the Bundesliga. James Rodriguez, hitting his straps. And with your Pinkus in charge of that team now, I can't see any way that Besiktas are even going to make this a contest. I think the Germans run right in this one. I'm saying 4-1 on aggregate. And that's perhaps being a little bit kind. So to recap then, Juventus to beat Spurs 2-1 on aggregate. Man City to cruise past Basel. Porto to knock out Liverpool. Yes, I know I'm going to receive a lot of heat for that, but it's just my opinion. Barca to knock out Chelsea. Maybe struggling at the bridge, but doing the damage that is required at the Nou Camp as they normally do. Real Madrid to knock out PSG. I'm predicting that one will be a high-scoring affair. Let's not forget that PSG have, between them, Mbappe, Neymar, and Cavani have scored, I think, 71 goals this season, if I'm not mistaken. So they're absolutely flying going forward. Di Maria's just hit form as well. So that one, with the frailties Real Madrid have at the back, that one certainly won't be one of these cagey tactical affairs. I think it'll be a high-scoring encounter. But I'm just saying, Real Madrid might just edge it on away goal or by the odd goal. Scored by Ronaldo, scored by Bale. That's just the hunch that I have. So Real Madrid to go through on away goals. Shakhtar to get past Roma, 4-3 on aggregate. Sevilla to get knocked out by Manchester United, and Bayern to absolutely whip Besiktas, leaving us with the quarterfinal lineup of Juventus, Man City, Porto, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Shakhtar, Man United, and Bayern. And what a mouth-watering quarterfinal lineup that will be. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know who you think will be going through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League this season. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe to my channel for some more football predictions, analysis, and just general opinions on what is a beautiful game. And that's it for Beautiful Goal TV. See you next time.